Money is one of the most talked about subjects in the world, yet one of the least understood. People spend their entire lives chasing it, fearing it, envying it, worshipping it, and blaming it, often without ever understanding what money truly represents. Most people believe money is the goal. In reality, money is only a consequence. It is never the root cause. From childhood, we are trained to see money as survival. We are told to study hard so we can earn well. We are warned that without money, life will be difficult. We watch adults argue over money, stress over money, and measure success by money. Slowly, without realizing it, money becomes emotionally charged. It stops being a tool and starts becoming an identity. This is the first untold truth. Money itself has no power. The power comes from the meaning we attach to it. A currency note cannot make you confident. A bank balance cannot make you intelligent, yet people behave as if money defines their worth. This misunderstanding is the foundation of most financial suffering. Consider two individuals. Both earn the same amount. One feels secure, plans calmly, invests patiently, and sleeps peacefully. The other feels anxious, spends impulsively, borrows excessively, and constantly feels behind. The difference is not income. The difference is mindset. Money obeys psychology before it obeys mathematics. Most financial advice fails because it ignores this fact. People are told to save more, invest wisely, and avoid debt, but no one explains why humans repeatedly do the opposite. The truth is uncomfortable. Money exposes character more than it creates it. Another untold truth is that money amplifies who you already are. If you are disciplined, money will reward you. If you are reckless, money will punish you. If you are generous, money will flow through you meaningfully. If you are insecure, money will magnify that insecurity. This is why sudden wealth often destroys people. Lottery winners, celebrities, athletes, and business founders frequently lose everything, not because they lack money, but because they lacked internal structure. Money arrived faster than wisdom. Society loves to glorify wealth, but hides the cost of earning it. We celebrate results, not sacrifices. We admire lifestyles, not discipline. We copy outcomes without understanding processes. This leads to frustration, imitation, and shortcuts. The untold truth is simple but harsh. Money rewards patience more than intelligence. You can be extremely smart and still be poor if you lack patience. You can be average in talent and still become wealthy if you respect time. Compounding is not just a financial concept, it is a life principle. Small decisions repeated consistently outperform dramatic actions taken occasionally. Most people underestimate time and overestimate effort. They believe one big move will change everything. In reality, wealth is built quietly, slowly, and often boringly. The person investing a modest amount every month for 20 years will outperform the person chasing high returns for 5. Another uncomfortable truth: money flows toward value, not effort. Many people work very hard and remain financially stuck. This creates resentment and confusion. Hard work is important, but it is not enough. The market does not reward how tired you are. It rewards how useful you are, how rare your skills are, and how well you solve problems for others. Effort without leverage has limits. Value with leverage scales. A teacher can influence 30 students at a time. An author can influence millions. A doctor can treat 1 patient per hour. A medical researcher can improve outcomes for entire populations. The difference is not effort, but reach. This explains why some professions cap income while others scale infinitely. Money follows impact multiplied by reach. Another truth rarely spoken: money is deeply connected to self-control. People don't go broke because they don't earn enough. They go broke because they cannot delay gratification. Spending feels good now. Saving feels boring now. Investing feels uncertain now. But consequences arrive later, silently and relentlessly. The human brain is wired for immediate rewards. Money demands long-term thinking. This creates conflict. Those who master money learn to override instinct with intention. Debt is a perfect example. Debt is not inherently evil. It is a tool, but in the hands of an undisciplined mind, it becomes a trap. Most people use debt to impress people who don't care, with money they haven't earned, to buy things they don't need. This leads to another untold truth. Money problems are rarely about money. They are about ego, comparison, fear, and identity. Social pressure silently destroys financial stability. People upgrade lifestyles not because they can afford them, but because they want to belong. They confuse appearance with progress. They measure success by visibility rather than security. True financial strength is invisible. It looks boring. It doesn't post receipts. It doesn't announce itself. It grows quietly while others chase validation. We are also rarely taught that money is emotional memory. How you grew up around money shapes how you treat it. If you grew up with scarcity, you may hoard or overspend. If you grew up with abundance, you may underestimate its value. Without awareness, people repeat financial patterns across generations. Breaking a financial cycle requires more than earning more. It requires unlearning beliefs. Another hard truth: money is not fair. Effort does not guarantee reward. Talent does not guarantee success. Timing, geography, networks, and luck play roles no one likes to admit. Accepting this is not pessimism, it is realism. Once you accept that the system is imperfect, you stop feeling entitled and start becoming strategic. Complaining about unfairness does not change outcomes. Understanding the rules does. The final truth in this opening section is this: money is a servant, never a master. When money becomes the purpose of life, life shrinks. When money supports purpose, life expands. The happiest financially successful people do not obsess over money, they respect it. They use it to buy time, reduce stress, support values, and create freedom, not to prove worth. Money cannot give meaning, but it can remove barriers that prevent meaning. This book is not about becoming rich quickly. It is about becoming financially intelligent permanently. It is about seeing money clearly, without emotion, fantasy, or fear. In the next part, we will uncover how money systems are designed, why most people remain trapped in cycles, and how financial education is intentionally incomplete. Chapter 1: The Illusion of Income and the Lie. We are taught early from a very young age. Most people are taught a simple formula: study hard, get a good degree, find a stable job, earn a good income, and life will be secure. This idea is repeated so often that it becomes unquestioned truth. Parents pass it to children. Teachers reinforce it. Society rewards those who appear to follow it. Yet this formula hides one of the biggest illusions about money. Income is not the same as wealth. Income is what you earn. Wealth is what you keep, grow, and control. Many people earn impressive salaries and remain financially fragile. Others earn modest incomes and quietly build lasting security. The difference lies not in how much money flows in, but in how money is understood and managed. The illusion of income traps people into believing that a higher paycheck automatically means a better life. This belief pushes people to chase promotions, overtime, multiple jobs, and status-based careers without questioning the cost. Time, health, relationships, and peace of mind are often exchanged for numbers that look good on paper but feel heavy in real life. A doctor earning a high salary but working 14-hour days may appear successful, yet live under constant stress, debt, and exhaustion. Meanwhile, a small business owner earning less may control their time, expenses, and future with far greater freedom. Income alone tells only part of the story. Another hidden lie is that stability comes from employment. Jobs feel safe because they provide predictable income. But predictability is not the same as security. A job depends on an employer, an industry, an economy, and policies outside your control. When any of these change, income can disappear overnight. True financial security comes from adaptability, skills, savings, and systems, not from a single source of income. This is why people who rely entirely on salaries are often the most vulnerable during economic downturns. They have one stream, one dependency, and limited flexibility. When that stream dries up, panic follows. The education system rarely teaches this. Schools teach how to earn, not how to manage. Students learn mathematics, science, and literature, but not budgeting, investing, risk management, or negotiation. As a result, people enter adulthood financially illiterate, but emotionally confident. This confidence is dangerous. They sign loans without understanding interest. They buy assets without understanding depreciation. They confuse liabilities for rewards and expenses for success. Another illusion tied to income is lifestyle inflation. As income rises, expenses quietly rise with it. A bigger salary leads to a bigger house, a better car, more subscriptions, more obligations. The extra income disappears before it can create stability. This is why many people earning twice as much as they once did still feel broke. Their lifestyle expanded faster than their discipline. Money does not create freedom unless it is intentionally restrained. There is also a moral illusion attached to income. Society often equates high income with intelligence, virtue, or hard work. This creates arrogance in some and shame in others. In reality, income reflects market demand, timing, and leverage more than personal worth. A social media influencer may earn more than a teacher, but this does not mean the influencer contributes more value to society. It only means the market rewards visibility more than impact. Understanding this prevents resentment and false pride. Money is not a moral scorecard. One of the most dangerous beliefs is that financial problems can always be solved by earning more. While increasing income can help, it often masks deeper issues. Without discipline, higher income simply increases the size of mistakes. Someone who cannot manage 10 will not manage 100. Someone who overspends at a low income will overspend at a high one. The habits remain, only the numbers change. Wealth is built by margin, not magnitude. The gap between what you earn and what you spend matters more than the total amount earned. Another uncomfortable truth is that most people are overpaid in youth and underpaid later in life. Early careers often reward energy more than wisdom. Later, experience grows, but opportunities shrink. Those who fail to build assets early find themselves dependent on income when energy declines. Money must be taught to work while you sleep, not just while you work. This is why saving is not optional. Saving is not about deprivation, it is about control. Savings buy time. Time buys options. Options buy freedom. Yet saving is discouraged by a culture built on consumption. Advertising convinces people that happiness is one purchase away. Social media turns comparison into a daily habit. The result is chronic dissatisfaction fueled by spending. People are trained to display success instead of securing it. The illusion of income keeps people running on a treadmill. They move faster but remain in the same place. True progress begins when income is seen as a tool, not a destination. The goal is not to earn more forever. The goal is to need less from effort and more from structure. When you understand this, your relationship with work changes. You stop chasing money blindly and start designing systems. You prioritize learning, ownership, and long-term thinking over quick rewards. Chapter 2: How Money Really Moves and Why Most People Never See It. Most people believe money moves according to effort, honesty, or merit. They assume that if they work hard, play fair, and follow the rules, money will naturally find them. This belief is comforting, but it is incomplete. Money does not move emotionally, it moves structurally. Money flows through systems, not individuals. To understand money, one must stop looking at paychecks and start observing pathways. Every unit of money travels through businesses, governments, institutions, and markets before it ever reaches a person. Those who understand these pathways position themselves near the flow. Those who do not remain downstream, waiting. Consider a simple example. A consumer buys a product. That money does not go directly to the worker who helped create it. It flows first to the company, then to taxes, overhead, investors, suppliers, and finally to employees. The worker is paid last, not first. This is not injustice, it is design. Employees exchange time for money. Owners exchange systems for money. Time is finite. Systems are scalable. This is why ownership sits closer to money than labor. A factory owner earns whether present or absent. A worker earns only while working. The difference is not effort but position. Most people are never taught to think in terms of position. They are trained to seek security, not leverage. Security feels safe in the short term, but limits exposure to upside in the long term. Money also moves toward aggregation. Platforms, networks, and intermediaries collect small amounts from many people and concentrate wealth. Banks do this with deposits. Technology companies do this with attention. Governments do this with taxes. The more centralized the system, the more power it holds over money flow. This explains why middlemen often become wealthier than producers. A farmer grows food. A retailer distributes it. A brand markets it. The consumer remembers the brand, not the farmer. Money follows visibility and control, not origin. Another hidden truth is that money prefers speed and scale. Businesses that can replicate quickly, distribute widely, and reduce friction attract capital. This is why digital products, intellectual property, and automation dominate modern wealth creation. Selling time does not scale. Selling solutions does. Yet most people remain trapped, selling time because it feels reliable. Monthly salaries create the illusion of progress while silently capping growth. The ceiling is invisible but firm. Money also flows toward predictability. Investors prefer stable returns over dramatic potential. This is why boring businesses often outperform exciting ones. A company selling everyday necessities quietly accumulates wealth, while flashy startups burn through cash chasing attention. Understanding this shifts perspective. Wealth is often dull before it is visible. Another reason people fail to see money flow is because they confuse movement with ownership. A paycheck moves through your account, but you do not control its source. Control is the real indicator of financial power. If your income depends on one decision maker, you are not in control. If it depends on a system you own or influence, you are closer to freedom. Debt plays a critical role in money movement. Debt accelerates flow. Governments use it to fund growth. Corporations use it to expand. Individuals use it to consume. The difference lies in purpose. Productive debt generates cash flow. Consumptive debt drains it. Most people are encouraged to take debt for consumption, while institutions take debt for production. This imbalance keeps individuals paying interest while organizations collect it. Interest is not just a financial concept, it is a transfer of wealth from the impatient to the patient. Banks do not fear debt, they design for it. They understand that predictable repayments generate predictable profit. The borrower focuses on monthly affordability. The lender focuses on lifetime yield. Money is also deeply influenced by information asymmetry. Those who know more make better financial decisions. Those who know less rely on advice, often biased by incentives. Financial products are rarely designed for the buyer's benefit alone. This is why fine print exists. Those closest to money understand rules early. They teach their children about assets, taxes, and negotiation. Others learn through mistakes, often costly ones. Money does not reward ignorance kindly. Another uncomfortable truth is that effort is not evenly rewarded because value is not evenly distributed. Solving rare, painful, or expensive problems attracts more money than solving common or comfortable ones. This is why specialization matters. A general solution serves many. A precise solution serves deeply. Both have value, but precision often commands higher rewards. People who struggle financially often work hard in areas where value is abundant and competition is intense. This drives prices down. Money moves away from crowds and toward scarcity. This is also why trends matter. Early adopters position themselves upstream. Late adopters fight for leftovers. Timing, once again, plays a silent role. Most people never see these flows because they are distracted by appearances. They see wealth as lifestyle, not structure. They notice spending, not systems. They admire results without studying mechanics. To see money clearly, one must think like a map maker, not a traveler. When you understand how money moves, frustration turns into strategy. You stop blaming yourself or the world and start repositioning. You begin asking better questions. Where does money already flow? Who controls it? How can I add value near that flow? This shift changes everything. Chapter 3: The Psychology That Keeps People. Poor poverty is often discussed as a lack of money, but in most cases it begins as a pattern of thinking. This is not a judgment, it is an observation. Two people can face the same circumstances and produce completely different financial outcomes. The difference lies in perception, reaction, and belief. Money responds to behavior long before it responds to opportunity. One of the strongest psychological traps is short-term thinking. The human mind naturally prioritizes immediate comfort over long-term gain. This bias explains why people spend bonuses instead of investing them, why they choose luxury over liquidity, and why they sacrifice tomorrow for today without noticing. Short-term thinking feels harmless in isolation. One purchase, one decision, one exception. But over time, these small choices compound into large consequences. Wealth grows quietly through restraint, while poverty grows loudly through indulgence. Another powerful force is fear. Fear of loss, fear of failure, fear of looking foolish. Fear prevents people from investing, starting businesses, negotiating salaries, or changing careers. They prefer familiar discomfort over unfamiliar possibility. Ironically, fear often appears disguised as responsibility. People say they cannot take risks because they have obligations. In reality, unmanaged fear makes risk unavoidable later when options are fewer. Ego is equally destructive. Ego pushes people to maintain appearances even when finances cannot support them. It encourages comparison instead of progress. It demands recognition instead of stability. Many people would rather look rich than be secure. This is why expensive cars are financed by long-term debt, why luxury items are purchased on credit, and why financial stress is hidden behind curated lifestyles. Ego thrives on external validation, even at the cost of internal peace. Another psychological barrier is learned helplessness. People who repeatedly experience financial struggle begin to believe improvement is impossible. They stop trying, stop learning, and stop planning. They accept survival as destiny. This belief is reinforced by environment. When everyone around you struggles, struggle feels normal. When ambition is mocked, discipline feels lonely. Financial growth often requires separation from familiar narratives. Money also exposes emotional regulation. People use spending to cope with stress, sadness, boredom, and insecurity. Retail therapy provides temporary relief but long-term damage. Emotional spending is rarely about the product, it is about escape. Those who master money learn to sit with discomfort without acting on it. Another hidden factor is identity. People unconsciously live up to financial labels they accept. Someone who believes they are bad with money will repeatedly prove it. Someone who identifies as careful, strategic, or patient behaves accordingly. Identity shapes habits. Habits shape outcomes. There is also a deep misunderstanding about risk. Many people avoid calculated risks while embracing silent ones. They avoid investing because markets fluctuate, yet depend entirely on one employer. They fear business failure, but ignore inflation eroding their savings. Real risk is not volatility. Real risk is dependency. Comparison further distorts perception. Social media shows results without context. People compare their beginnings to others' highlights. This leads to impatience and reckless decisions in an attempt to catch up. Comparison creates urgency without strategy. Another psychological trap is entitlement. Some believe they deserve wealth because they work hard or are educated. When results do not match expectations, bitterness follows. Money does not respond to entitlement, it responds to value and timing. Humility allows learning. Entitlement blocks it. Scarcity mindset also plays a role. Those who believe money is always scarce make decisions from fear. They underinvest, overprotect, and avoid growth. Ironically, this mindset often keeps money scarce. Abundance mindset does not mean reckless optimism. It means believing opportunity exists and preparing to meet it. Finally, impatience destroys more financial potential than ignorance. People abandon sound strategies because results take time. They switch paths repeatedly, never allowing compounding to work. Wealth is slow at first and sudden later. Most people quit in the slow phase. Understanding these psychological patterns is not enough. Awareness must be followed by discipline. But awareness is the first liberation. When you recognize the internal forces at work, money stops feeling mysterious and starts feeling manageable. Chapter 4: Time, Compounding, and the Quiet Power of Consistency. Time is the most misunderstood element in money. People respect effort, talent, and luck, but they consistently underestimate time. They want results quickly and lose patience when progress appears slow. Yet money obeys time more faithfully than it obeys intelligence. Compounding is not magic. It is mathematics combined with patience. The power of compounding lies in repetition. Small, consistent actions performed over long periods create results that appear disproportionate to the effort involved. This is why wealth often looks sudden to outsiders while being painfully slow to the person building it. Consider two individuals. One saves a modest amount every month and invests steadily for decades. The other waits for the perfect opportunity, invests occasionally, and chases higher returns. Over time, the consistent investor quietly surpasses the impatient one, even if returns are lower. Consistency beats intensity when time is long enough. Most people fail to benefit from compounding because they interrupt it. They withdraw early, change strategies frequently, or stop entirely when progress feels invisible. Compounding requires faith before evidence. Time also exposes behavior. Good habits feel unrewarding early and powerful later. Bad habits feel rewarding early and destructive later. This delay creates confusion. People misjudge cause and effect because consequences arrive late. This is why debt feels helpful at first and painful later, while saving feels painful at first and helpful later. Another truth about time is that starting matters more than optimizing. A simple plan started early outperforms a perfect plan started late. Many people delay action waiting for certainty. In doing so, they sacrifice the most valuable asset they have. Time cannot be recovered. Money can. Inflation quietly punishes those who delay. Money sitting idle loses value every year. This erosion is subtle, making inaction feel safe while quietly reducing purchasing power. Compounding works both ways. Just as investments grow, neglect accumulates. Missed years, unlearned skills, and unbuilt assets compound into limitation. Consistency is difficult because it lacks excitement. There are no dramatic milestones, no quick rewards. Progress happens below perception. This is why discipline, not motivation, builds wealth. Motivation fluctuates. Systems endure. Those who succeed financially automate good behavior. They save before spending. They invest on schedule. They reduce decision fatigue. They remove emotion from routine. Time also teaches humility. Markets rise and fall. Industries change. Fortunes shift. Those who respect time diversify, remain flexible, and avoid arrogance. The greatest financial advantage is not intelligence or income. It is patience applied consistently. Many people ask how long wealth takes to build. The honest answer is longer than they expect, but shorter than they fear, if consistency is maintained. In the next chapter, we will explore the role of debt, credit, and leverage, and why these tools create freedom for some and disaster for others. Chapter 5. Debt, Credit, and Leverage. The most misused tools in money. Debt is one of the most misunderstood forces in modern finance. It is feared by some, abused by others, and mastered by very few. Most people are taught a simple rule: debt is bad. This rule sounds safe, but it is incomplete. Debt itself is not the problem. The problem is ignorance. Debt is a tool. Like any tool, its impact depends on how and why it is used. At its core, debt is borrowed time. It allows someone to use future money in the present. This can accelerate growth or accelerate collapse. The difference lies in purpose, structure, and control. Institutions understand this well. Governments borrow to build infrastructure, stimulate economies, and manage cycles. Corporations borrow to expand operations, acquire competitors, and increase reach. Banks borrow at low cost and lend at higher rates, earning the spread. Individuals, however, are often encouraged to borrow for consumption. homes beyond necessity, vehicles beyond utility, lifestyles beyond income. This creates a one-sided flow where interest moves upward while obligation moves downward. The most dangerous form of debt is not large debt. It is silent debt. Silent debt comes with low monthly payments that disguise long-term cost. Credit cards, extended financing plans, and consumer loans are designed to feel manageable. People focus on affordability, not total repayment. A small payment feels harmless until it multiplies across years. Interest is rarely explained in emotional terms. It should be. Interest is the price paid for impatience. Those who cannot wait pay those who can. Over time, this transfer becomes enormous. Productive debt creates assets that generate income or reduce future expenses. Consumptive debt creates obligations that demand future effort. This distinction is everything. A loan used to start a profitable business can create independence. A loan used to buy a depreciating luxury creates dependence. The same financial instrument produces opposite outcomes. Leverage magnifies results. When things go well, leverage accelerates success. When things go wrong, leverage accelerates failure. This is why disciplined systems use leverage carefully, while undisciplined behavior is destroyed by it. Most people encounter debt before understanding money. They build credit scores before building financial literacy. This sequence creates vulnerability. Credit scores measure reliability, not wisdom. A person can be excellent at repayment and terrible at decision-making. Another hidden truth is that debt reshapes psychology. Owing money creates pressure. Pressure influences choices. People stay in jobs they hate, avoid risks they need to take, and accept unfair conditions because debt demands certainty. Debt reduces flexibility. Flexibility is freedom. This is why wealthy individuals prioritize liquidity even when they use leverage. They ensure they can survive disruption. Poorly managed debt removes margin for error. Credit is often marketed as empowerment. In reality, it is a contract. Contracts favor the party with more information, patience, and capital. Banks are not emotional. They design products based on statistics, not sympathy. Missing a payment damages reputation. Paying faithfully builds nothing beyond trust. Many people celebrate being debt-free as an achievement. It is, but only when paired with asset building. Eliminating debt without building systems leaves people safe but stagnant. The goal is not zero debt. The goal is controlled debt. Controlled debt is intentional, limited, and strategic. It serves a clear purpose and has an exit plan. Uncontrolled debt is emotional, reactive, and indefinite. One of the most overlooked costs of debt is opportunity loss. Money used to service debt cannot be invested. Time spent worrying cannot be used creatively. Energy spent surviving cannot be used to grow. Debt also creates false urgency. People rush decisions because bills demand speed. Long-term thinking becomes a luxury they feel they cannot afford. Ironically, long-term thinking is what would free them. Understanding leverage also means understanding when not to use it. Not every opportunity needs acceleration. Slow, organic growth often produces stronger foundations. The financially intelligent use debt, like fire, contained, purposeful, and monitored. The financially reckless let it spread until it consumes everything. This chapter's truth is simple but uncomfortable. Debt does not create problems, it exposes them. Chapter 6: Saving, Investing, and the Difference Between Safety and Growth. Most people believe saving and investing are the same activity expressed in different ways. They are not. Saving is about protection. Investing is about expansion. Confusing the two leads to frustration, missed opportunity, and false security. Saving preserves money. Investing exposes money. Both are necessary, but they serve different purposes at different stages of life. Saving is the foundation of financial stability. It creates margin for error. It absorbs shocks. It allows decisions to be made calmly instead of desperately. Without savings, every problem becomes an emergency. With savings, problems become manageable. Yet saving alone does not build wealth. It only slows loss. Inflation quietly erodes stored money. What feels safe today buys less tomorrow. This makes excessive saving a hidden risk. Safety without growth is stagnation. Investing, on the other hand, accepts uncertainty in exchange for long-term gain. It requires belief in the future, patience during volatility, and emotional control during downturns. Most people struggle with investing not because it is complex, but because it is uncomfortable. Humans are loss-averse. Loss feels stronger than gain. This bias causes people to avoid investing or panic during temporary declines. They abandon sound strategies at the worst possible moments. Investing rewards those who do nothing at the right times. Another common mistake is seeking certainty. People want guarantees. Markets offer probabilities. Those who demand certainty remain on the sidelines, watching inflation do its work. Assets are another misunderstood concept. Many people believe assets are things they own. In reality, assets are things that put money in your pocket or reduce future expenses. Ownership alone is meaningless without cash flow or utility. A luxury item rarely qualifies as an asset. It may hold emotional value, but it usually drains financial resources. Real assets share a common trait. They work independently of your presence. They generate value repeatedly without demanding constant attention. Investing is not about predicting markets. It is about positioning. Those who build diversified portfolios reduce dependence on any single outcome. They accept that some investments will underperform while others compensate. Diversification is not a lack of confidence. It is respect for uncertainty. Many people fail at investing because they approach it emotionally. They chase trends, follow headlines, and react to noise. They buy when excitement is high and sell when fear dominates. This reverses logic. The disciplined investor behaves opposite to instinct. They buy patiently, rebalance calmly, and ignore short-term fluctuations. Time remains the most powerful ally. Long-term investing allows mistakes to be corrected and volatility to smooth out. Short-term thinking magnifies errors. Another overlooked aspect of investing is self-investment. Skills, education, health, and network often provide the highest returns. These investments compound differently but powerfully. A skill that increases earning potential multiplies future savings and investments. Neglecting self-investment limits all other strategies. Risk tolerance is personal, not universal. Age, responsibilities, and temperament matter. Copying another person's strategy without understanding context leads to unnecessary stress. Financial advice without context is dangerous. Many people confuse complexity with sophistication. Simple strategies executed consistently outperform complex ones abandoned midway. Complexity often hides fees, mistakes, and overconfidence. Fees are another silent enemy. Small percentages compound negatively over time. Those who understand this prioritize low-cost structures and long-term efficiency. Saving and investing are not destinations. They are processes. They require adjustment, learning, and discipline. There is no finish line, only management. Chapter 7: Wealth, Identity, and the Dangerous Myth that Money Changes People. One of the most repeated statements about money is that it changes people. This idea is comforting because it allows society to blame wealth for behavior rather than confronting human nature. The truth is more precise and far less forgiving. Money does not change people, it reveals them. When money enters a life, it removes constraints. It amplifies choices. It exposes priorities. A person who becomes selfish with wealth was never generous without it. A person who becomes reckless was already undisciplined. Money simply removes the need to pretend. This is why sudden wealth is often destructive. It arrives before identity is stable. Without internal structure, external freedom becomes chaos. Identity precedes wealth, not the other way around. Most people are unaware of how deeply money is tied to who they believe they are. Some see themselves as survivors, others as providers. Some as risk-takers, others as protectors. These identities silently guide financial decisions. A person who identifies as a survivor prioritizes safety over growth, even when growth is necessary. A person who identifies as a provider may overwork and overspend to maintain an image of reliability. A risk-taker may chase returns without respecting downside. None of these identities are wrong. They become harmful only when unconscious. Money also interacts with self-worth. Many people measure their value through earning power. When income drops, confidence collapses. When income rises, ego inflates. This creates emotional volatility tied to external outcomes. True financial maturity separates self-worth from net worth. Another myth is that wealthy people think differently by nature. In reality, many think differently by discipline. They train their attention. They delay reaction. They think in systems rather than events. Wealthy individuals often appear calm during crises, not because they are immune, but because they have margin. Margin creates psychological stability. Stability enables better decisions. This is why wealth appears to change personality. In reality, it removes pressure. Money also magnifies relationships. Financial stress destroys communication. Financial abundance reveals intentions. Friendships built on need weaken when need disappears. Relationships built on respect survive change. This is why some people fear success. They subconsciously associate wealth with isolation, judgment, or betrayal. These fears are often inherited, not experienced. Money narratives are passed across generations. Children absorb beliefs long before logic develops. If money was associated with conflict, guilt, or sacrifice in childhood, wealth may feel threatening in adulthood. If money was associated with freedom and growth, risk feels natural. Without examining these narratives, people unconsciously sabotage success. Another identity conflict arises when wealth outpaces social environment. Growth creates distance. Habits change. Conversations shift. This can produce guilt. Some people limit success to preserve belonging. Belonging is a powerful force. It can override ambition. Financial growth often requires renegotiating identity. You must decide who you are becoming before money confirms it. Without this clarity, wealth creates confusion instead of fulfillment. There is also the illusion that wealth eliminates problems. In reality, it exchanges problems. Financial problems are replaced by decision problems. Scarcity problems are replaced by responsibility problems. Money does not simplify life. It complicates it at a higher level. Those who expect wealth to bring happiness are disappointed. Those who expect it to bring options are satisfied. Another important truth is that generosity without boundaries is self-destruction. Many people with wealth struggle to say no. They confuse generosity with obligation. This drains resources and creates resentment. True generosity is intentional, not reactive. Wealth also tests discipline. When resources are limited, discipline is enforced externally. When resources grow, discipline must be internal. This is where many fail. Unlimited access reveals limits of self-control. The most dangerous phase is not poverty, but early success. This is when confidence rises faster than wisdom. Many fortunes are lost here. Long-term wealth requires humility. Markets change. Skills age. Industries evolve. Those who assume permanence make irreversible mistakes. The financially wise remain students regardless of balance. Chapter 8: Financial Freedom and the Misunderstood Goal. Everyone chases financial freedom is one of the most overused and misunderstood phrases in discussions about money. It is often portrayed as endless leisure, luxury lifestyles, or the absence of work. This image attracts attention, but it distorts reality. True financial freedom is not about doing nothing, it is about choice. Freedom is the ability to decide without financial pressure. Most people believe freedom arrives at a specific number, a certain income, a certain net worth, a certain milestone. In reality, freedom is relational. It depends on lifestyle, obligations, expectations, and mindset. A person earning modestly with low expenses may be freer than someone earning far more but burdened by commitments. Freedom is not wealth. Freedom is margin. Margin exists when income exceeds needs, when assets exceed liabilities, and when time exceeds obligation. Without margin, even high earners feel trapped. Another illusion is that freedom means escape from responsibility. The opposite is true. Freedom increases responsibility. When survival is no longer the primary concern, choices matter more. There is no one to blame. This frightens many people. This is why some unconsciously sabotage progress. Dependency feels safer than autonomy. Financial independence is also misunderstood. It does not mean rejecting work. It means work becomes optional, not compulsory. You work because you choose to, not because you must. Those who hate work often hate lack of control, not effort itself. Freedom is built through alignment. Income sources must align with skills, values, and energy. When misaligned, even passive income becomes burdensome. Passive income itself is often romanticized. In reality, most passive income is delayed, active work. Systems require design, monitoring, and adjustment. What becomes passive later is active upfront. Freedom also demands simplicity. Complexity creates dependency. Too many obligations reduce flexibility. Many people become financially successful and operationally trapped. More assets can mean less freedom if poorly structured. Another hidden truth is that freedom is progressive, not sudden. It arrives in stages. First comes breathing room, then optionality, then autonomy. Those expecting a dramatic moment miss gradual liberation. Fear often increases as freedom approaches. When external constraints disappear, internal doubts surface. People accustomed to being told what to do struggle with open choice. Freedom requires self-direction. This is why discipline is essential. Without structure, freedom collapses into drift. Those who succeed long-term create routines, goals, and boundaries. Money removes constraints, but it does not provide purpose. Purpose must exist independently. Otherwise, freedom feels empty. There is also a moral dimension. Financial freedom allows one to act according to values. It enables generosity without sacrifice, honesty without fear, and service without burnout. However, freedom also reveals values. Some use it to create, others to consume. Neither is wrong, but consequences differ. Another misunderstood aspect is time freedom. Many chase money to buy time, yet spend time carelessly. Time freedom without intentional use leads to boredom and dissatisfaction. The ultimate goal is not freedom from work, but freedom to do meaningful work. Financial freedom also protects dignity. It allows refusal. The ability to say no is one of the clearest signs of independence. When money no longer controls decisions, clarity improves. Relationships become more honest. Fear reduces. Creativity increases. But freedom is fragile. It must be maintained. Poor decisions, complacency, or ego can erode it. Chapter 9. Money, Power and Influence. How Wealth Shapes the World. Money is often treated as a personal matter, a tool for survival, comfort, or enjoyment. Yet, on a broader scale, money is the foundation of power and influence. Understanding this relationship is critical, because it explains why some people consistently rise above others, why societies organize as they do, and why opportunities are never equally distributed. Power is the ability to make things happen. Influence is the ability to shape decisions and behavior. Money underpins both. Those with financial resources can allocate attention, reward effort, and shape priorities. They can invest in ideas, institutions, and people. Those without money can only react to systems designed by others. History is filled with examples. Ancient trade empires thrived not because of armies alone, but because merchants controlled the flow of goods and credit. Industrial magnates leverage capital to create monopolies and dictate markets. Modern technology giants accumulate influence not only through innovation, but through the financial control of attention, infrastructure, and talent. Yet most individuals underestimate this principle. They believe money's power lies in ownership of things rather than control over systems. Buying assets can create security, but influencing systems multiplies potential. A single investor may own a business. An investor who understands markets can influence industries. A small bank can serve a town. A central bank can serve a nation. Scale of control is the real amplifier of money's power. Influence is also psychological. People respond to credibility, trust, and authority. Wealth enables demonstration of competence and creates leverage in negotiations. Those who understand both the practical and psychological dimensions of money can shape outcomes far beyond their immediate resources. Another hidden truth is that money often magnifies pre-existing values, for better or worse. Generous individuals can fund transformative change. Selfish individuals can manipulate and control others. This is why understanding ethics alongside financial strategy is critical. Money itself is neutral. Its effect depends on the character of the holder. Power dynamics emerge early in personal finance. Who controls money in a household often dictates decisions beyond spending, education, career choices, health, and relationships. Recognizing how influence flows in small systems prepares individuals for managing larger systems later. A subtle and often ignored truth is that access to money influences opportunity more than raw talent. Networks, visibility, mentorship, and capital amplify capability. A moderately talented individual with access to capital and connections often outperforms a highly talented person without them. This creates the perception of inequality, which is largely structural. Many people interpret this as unfairness. In reality, it is the natural consequence of leverage. Money is leverage, the ability to multiply impact. Lack of access to leverage limits potential, but understanding leverage allows one to overcome structural disadvantage over time. History provides a clear lesson. Systems reward those who can pool resources and take calculated risks. Individual effort is insufficient without collective positioning. Wealth and influence are rarely solo endeavors. They require relationships, negotiation, and coordination. The connection between money and influence also shapes society at large. Those who control capital influence laws, regulations, and economic policy. Those with disposable resources determine which ideas, products, and technologies flourish. While democracy may provide theoretical equality, financial influence often determines practical outcomes. On a personal level, understanding this dynamic allows individuals to position themselves strategically. Whether negotiating a salary, starting a business, or investing in opportunities, recognizing who holds influence and how money flows ensures smarter, more predictable decisions. Another important truth is that money can buy time, but influence can multiply it. Wealth alone provides personal comfort, influence provides structural advantage. Systems tend to reward those who combine the two. Yet, most people confuse spending power with control. Luxury purchases, expensive lifestyles, and consumption provide status illusions but do not enhance influence. Influence requires direction, vision, and intentionality. Without this, wealth becomes performative rather than productive. This chapter reveals a harsh but essential truth. Money alone is limited. Its power grows exponentially when paired with strategic understanding, ethics, and foresight. Those who ignore this risk, being wealthy but powerless, comfortable but invisible, and reactive rather than proactive. Chapter 10. The social and emotional traps that keep people poor. Even when opportunity exists, many people fail to accumulate wealth. This failure is rarely due to intelligence, effort, or luck alone. Most often, it is caused by social and emotional traps, patterns of behavior, expectation, and influence that quietly sabotage financial progress. One of the most powerful traps is comparison. Humans naturally measure success against peers, neighbors, and colleagues. This creates pressure to match appearances rather than focus on personal goals. People upgrade homes, cars, and lifestyles, not because they can afford it, but because others have. This constant chase erodes margin and delays wealth accumulation. Comparison also creates envy, which distorts decision-making. When envy drives spending, logic takes a back seat. Investments are abandoned, savings delayed, and risks taken for the wrong reasons. Many financial mistakes are social mistakes in disguise. Another trap is confirmation bias. People seek information that reinforces existing beliefs and avoid truths that challenge them. This is particularly damaging in finance. Someone who believes markets are dangerous ignores long-term data showing growth. Someone who believes in luck over discipline abandons strategies prematurely. Confirmation bias keeps people stuck in repeating cycles. Emotional spending is another major trap. Money triggers feelings, fear, joy, guilt, pride, and these emotions often override rational thinking. A person may splurge on a luxury to celebrate success or console sadness, yet these purchases rarely create real satisfaction. Instead, they create stress and guilt. Understanding emotional triggers is as important as understanding balance sheets. Peer pressure also subtly controls financial behavior. People are influenced by the expectations of friends, family, and colleagues. The pressure to appear successful, generous, or trendy can drive spending beyond means. In extreme cases, people sabotage their own security to avoid social rejection. Fear is a silent companion in finance. Fear of failure prevents risk-taking. Fear of success prevents ambition. Fear of judgment prevents action. Many people are immobilized not by lack of ability, but by anticipation of what could go wrong or what others might think. Procrastination is another trap. Delaying saving, investing, or learning about money costs more than lost opportunity. It compounds over time. A decade of delay in investing can reduce retirement wealth by more than half due to lost compounding. Yet procrastination feels harmless in the present, making it dangerously seductive. Short-term gratification is deeply wired into human psychology. The brain prioritizes immediate pleasure over delayed reward. This bias explains why people consistently spend bonuses, chase trends, and abandon disciplined plans. Over time, small daily compromises destroy long-term potential. Many people also fall into the trap of overconfidence. They assume income will always grow, that luck will persist, or that failure is unlikely. Overconfidence leads to excessive spending, risky investments, and underestimation of competition. The paradox is that confidence is necessary to act, but untested confidence can be destructive. Identity and upbringing are subtle but powerful influences. If someone grows up in a family that views money as scarce, they may hoard unnecessarily or avoid investing. If someone grows up surrounded by debt, they may unconsciously normalize borrowing. Social conditioning shapes habits before conscious thought emerges. Lifestyle creep is another common trap. As income rises, expenses tend to rise faster. People move into bigger homes, buy nicer cars, and adopt more expensive habits, all while believing they are progressing. In reality, net wealth often stagnates because spending rises faster than income. Even financial education can be a trap if applied incorrectly. Learning technical skills without discipline leads to confidence without competence. Understanding markets but ignoring behavior often results in poor outcomes. Knowledge alone is insufficient. Action, strategy, and psychology matter most. One of the most overlooked traps is comfort. People become accustomed to their current lifestyle and avoid change, even when better opportunities exist. Comfort creates inertia. Breaking through requires conscious discomfort, delaying gratification, taking calculated risks, and learning new skills. Lastly, ego and pride can silently sabotage financial growth. People resist asking for help, negotiating, or admitting mistakes because doing so threatens self-image. Pride prevents learning, humility prevents correction, and the combination often creates long-term financial stagnation. The cumulative effect of these social and emotional traps is devastating. They are invisible forces that drain margin, create stress, and limit potential without being immediately obvious. Unlike lack of income, these traps are psychological, relational, and behavioral. They follow people regardless of education or opportunity. The lesson is clear. Wealth is not just about money. It is about mindset, self-awareness, and emotional intelligence. Managing these invisible forces is as critical as managing cash, investments, and debt. Those who fail to recognize them may work their entire lives, earn substantial incomes, and still feel financially trapped. Conclusion: the untold truth about money. Money is not a simple tool. It is a mirror, a multiplier, and a magnifier. Throughout this book, we have uncovered truths that are rarely taught, rarely discussed, and rarely understood. From the illusions of income and the hidden flow of money to the psychology, social traps, and systemic forces that determine financial outcomes, the journey toward wealth is as much internal as it is external. One of the central lessons is that income is not wealth. Many people spend decades chasing paychecks, promotions, and titles, believing that higher earnings alone will secure freedom. Yet wealth is not measured by what comes in. It is measured by what you keep, grow, and control. Discipline, patience, and systems matter far more than raw effort or talent. Time and compounding are silent allies. Wealth rarely arrives overnight. Small, consistent actions repeated over years produce results that appear disproportionate to effort. Most people fail because they expect speed and instant gratification, abandoning systems before they can compound. Understanding and respecting time is the most powerful financial advantage anyone can hold. Debt, credit, and leverage are neither inherently good nor bad. They are tools that amplify outcomes. When used strategically, they accelerate growth and create freedom. When used carelessly, they magnify risk and destroy security. Mastering money requires mastering leverage, risk, and intention. The social and emotional dimensions of wealth are equally important. Fear, ego, comparison, impatience, and societal expectations silently shape behavior. Ignoring these forces creates patterns of poverty, even in the presence of opportunity. True financial intelligence is not just technical skill, it is emotional mastery, self-awareness, and the ability to act deliberately despite pressures. Financial freedom is not a destination. It is a condition, a combination of margin, autonomy, and choice. It is achieved when income, assets, and systems align with values, goals, and long-term vision. Those who mistake wealth for status, lifestyle, or validation often find themselves trapped despite having resources. Ultimately, money magnifies who you already are. It does not make a person generous, ethical, disciplined, or wise. It reveals and amplifies character. This truth is both liberating and humbling. By cultivating the right mindset, habits, and discipline before financial abundance, you prepare to use money as a tool rather than being used by it. This book is not just about money, it is about thinking differently, seeing clearly, and acting wisely. The journey ahead is yours to navigate. By understanding the untold truths, applying the principles, and mastering both mind and action, financial freedom becomes not a dream, but a deliberate reality.